So first question is, how long have you been playing rugby professionally for? I turned professional in 2009. So I think it was August 2009. I was playing club rugby for Randwick at the time, and I was working as a plumber delivery driver down in ENQUIRIES, so some fond memories down there. I played Australian under 20s and then got signed not long after that, and I started in August of 2009. Number two, what motivates you to get up every day and do this as a living? Good question. So at the start, when I started doing this, what motivated me at the time was my family. I know it's a bit cliche, but sort of family man of the house at the time, with my mother and my father not being in the picture. I still had my two younger brothers at the time still in school. You know, that's what motivated me to want to keep playing rugby. At the start, it was only just to make money. And it wasn't until, a few years later, when a few things happened in my life, that sort of gave me a bit of reality check. Now, I've got my own little family now, so my wife and my son Ethan. So that's what is my motivation right now. Getting up in the morning, knowing that I can be able to provide for them and put some money aside so that I can, give them a good future. Kids really do change your lives. So that's my motivation. That's what gets me up each day. How do I react to social media and trolls? Yeah, it's funny. I think these days, with the way social media is going, and it gives everyone a platform to vent and voice their opinions. Some are good, some are bad. I've had my fair share. I remember when I first signed with Leicester, and the comments were pretty harsh. I think a lot of them were saying I was too old, I was past my due by date and injury prone, which, it's not nice. But for me, the only way I can prove people wrong is on the rugby field. The way I train, the way I play, because at the end of the day, people out there are only going to judge you by what you do on TV. They're not going to get up at 5 in the morning and 6 in the morning. They don't know that stuff, that you do, the extra stuff that you put in. So, you've got to make sure that when you do go out there, you got to perform and give your best. And, I put in a performance week in, week out. And it's not easy. It is draining on the body and on the mind. The only way I deal with it is just try and let my actions do the talking. Another one. Being 33 now, what things do you do differently compared to when you were 23? A lot of things. You can do a lot of things when you're younger. You can go out and have fun, and then the next day you can back up and train and do whatnot. So what do I do differently now? I think it's just making sure my body is right, making the right decisions, doing the small things like stretching, your recovery, nutrition. The biggest thing I think for me is my nutrition side of things, as well as my recovery. Like with anything, when you get older, your body takes a bit longer to recover. By doing those things, it's going to, keep you going and make you keep up with these young guys. I'm 33 now, and there's guys in the squad that are 19, 20, 18-year-olds. So, they're full of energy. So I guess, them being around them as well helps you, or helps me, want to be better. And so I guess the two things that I've had to really focus on is my nutrition and my recovery. Did you expect to be playing this long? To be fair, I didn't even expect to have a professional career. I'm thankful that I am in this position. No, I didn't expect to be playing this long. I've been very blessed and very fortunate enough to have played this long. How long will I keep going? I'm not sure. As I'm getting on and getting older, and I've got a family now, your decisions in life change a lot, I guess. So, have you ever suffered from mental health before? Yes, I have, massively. As professional rugby players, the stress we get put under, the stuff that we go through day in, day out. Like I said, going back to the trolls, there's a lot of them that just pick out what you do on the rugby field. The sacrifices we make. I went through something similar in 2015. Responsibilities of a rugby player probably got to me, and I kind of dealt with it. I dealt with it behind closed doors, but I did it in the wrong way. I probably lent to alcohol and stuff. So that was pretty tough. But I got some help, which was good. And I think the one thing that I've learned over the years is to talk about your problems. Another incident was in 2018 or 17-18 when I retired internationally from Fiji. It was probably the lowest that I've been. I remember playing and I just wasn't enjoying rugby. I wasn't enjoying anything. I was getting injured, and there's just a lot of things happening at the time. And That was a tough time. Got help, which was good. Spoke about my problems, and eventually overcame it. I think now, looking back on it, I'm probably in a better place. I think I needed to have a new, move to a new environment and start fresh, which ultimately led me to get back into the Fiji squad, which I'm really grateful for. And Vern Cotter, who's the coach there, gave me the opportunity to come back. But like I said, when I retired that time, I knew straight away that I was never going to play again for Fiji. Good thing about life, things happen that when you least expect it. So very grateful to be back there, and hopefully I can get back into it. But mental health is important, and it's something I think that we should really speak about in the professional world, and it's something that doesn't get spoken about a lot. So yeah. How are you finding it at Leicester Tigers? To be honest, we love being back in an English-speaking country. That's the most important thing. I think when baby was born and the opportunity came to come to England was the best move for my little family, I guess. Being back in English-speaking country, having a newborn, and it was just going to make things a lot easier. Leicester Tigers, the one thing I love about Leicester Tigers is the professionalism about it all. The coaching staff and the trainers, we're all, and the medical staff, are all on the same page. And for someone like myself, who is at this stage of my career, if anything, it's actually helped me, get my body right. And I remember when I first came, I came at 45 kilos, and I think I was at 140 odd mils on my skin fold test. So we do a skin fold test. So from then till now, I've got down to about 129 kilos, dropped down to like 90 mils. So that should say a lot about how the environment has changed me as a player in this short time. I'm really enjoying it. I think if there's one thing that I'm still trying to get used to is just the style of rugby they play in England. For me, it's just getting used to the way they play here, and it's going to come. So far so good at Leicester Tigers. Loving it. Hopefully we can string more wins together, and but we're coming along really well. There's a balance of players, young and old, and the good thing about the young guys is they want to learn, they want to get better, and they're pushing guys like myself to want to get better, and which is good, because then it's the competitiveness that we have makes the competition in training healthy, so that come game time, we're all ready to go. So yeah, really enjoying my time so far here in Leicestershire. Do you plan on going to the next World Cup? Yeah, when I spoke to Vern about coming back into the Fiji team last year, we had a chat, and I said if I'm going to come back, I'm going to go all the way, try and make it to the next World Cup. I didn't want to come in and just play these games and then just finish off. So I am going to go through the World Cup. Now, whether I make it or not is a different story. There's a lot of talented young wingers and devastating ball runners in the game at the moment. And unfortunately, Fijians, we create wingers. So I've got my hands tied. But look, I think that's what's great about it. It gives me a lot of motivation to want to try and compete with these guys. And hopefully, if the stars align and God willing, I'll make it to the next World Cup. If I'm good enough, I'm good enough. But if I'm not, well, at least I say I can try it. So what's your advice on young players wanting to be professional athletes? Look, just go with it. Learn as much as you can. I've seen over the years a lot of players don't go far because they think they know more than what they actually do, if that makes sense. So, it comes down to just wanting to learn. Being a sponge. What I mean by a sponge is just taking everything in. Sometimes things don't go your way. I know for a fact I was told when I was, young in Australia that, I was too slow to play Super Rugby. I was never going to make it. I could never keep up with the pace. And, it's still new to me. Like, that still is instilled in me, like, till today. So the one thing I would say, and this is only because I can only talk on my experience, that I just never gave up. I'm the sort of person that wants to prove you wrong, and by doing that, I am where I am today. Never give up. If one door closes, there's always opportunities that will come. Have that mentality that never taking no for an answer. If they say you can't do it, prove them wrong. Do what you need to do so that when time comes, the guys that did let you go are scratching their heads going, oh, we shouldn't have let him go. and stuff like that. Here we go, another one. Plans for life after rugby. Yeah, I get this question asked all the time. When you're younger, when you're 22, 23, you don't really think about it too much. But when you're at this stage of your career, you sort of look at the next chapter in your life. For me, I'm going to be involved. I'd like to get involved in the construction side of things. But the one thing of that is I'm going to be my own boss. Are you scared to retire? No, I'm not. Before I became a rugby player, I'd worked for 4 or 5 years. So I went out there, did all the stuff that I needed to do. I worked some tough jobs. I remember being an asbestos removalist with my cousin back in Brisbane. All sorts of stuff. Did concreting, worked in real estate for a bit. So, one stage I had 3 jobs. But that was the situation I was in, looking after my family. But I think the one thing that's taught me that I'm blessed and thankful for is that I got to do that before I turned professional. So I had an idea of what it's like to work, I guess as a civilian. Is it going to be hard? Yeah, of course it is. When you've been doing something like this, I feel that as rugby players, we are in a fortunate position where we get to do stuff, get paid for stuff that we love doing. I think the one thing I'll probably miss is the rugby side of things, the training and stuff. But at the same time, I always think that, I always say that if you surround yourself around good people, good family, that your family are very supportive, it's going to make, hopefully, life a bit easier. I don't think I'm scared to retire. I just think I'm nervous about the next chapter. So a bit of yes and no. I think I'm just more nervous and anxious, I guess. But I'm sure whatever life holds for myself and my family, life after rugby, I'm sure it's going to be a pretty cool journey. What's one thing you want people to remember you by when you finish the game? I'm the sort of person that, I've always been taught to be nice, to be a good person, be humble. So I think if I was to be remembered, I guess would be just a good guy. Someone who was always for the team and someone who, gave it his all when he played. So I definitely am not gonna get he was the fittest in the squad or he was, Last question, how do you think Leicester will finish it this season? Hopefully top 4, that's our goal. This team's growing, and with the coaches we have, I think we're going to do really well. The goal is to make top 4. The one thing I find about teams, the competition here in England, it's so competitive. I think that's what excites us. But hopefully we can do really well and string together a few games. We're currently, I think, in 8th position or 9th. But it's so close together that anything can happen. So yeah, hopefully we play and win a few games and get to where we want to get to by the end of the season. So anyway, guys, that is the questionnaire done and dusted. Thanks to the guys who sent that through. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me ramble on, I guess. I for once really enjoy these sort of Q&As because it's sort of, you get to know a person, I guess, personally, rather than what you see on TV. So yeah, I really appreciate this, guys. If there's any other things you want to know or any other things you want us to do, like I said last week, put it in the comment, like, subscribe, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope I didn't bore you guys out. So until next time, ciao, bye.